Welcome back to 4 Geeks by Geeks, the place where geeks come to geek out. As always, I am Boser. Welcome to your Geek Out Sesh, you guys. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, I left this hanging. I meant to have it this, but now you can see who our guest geek is, and we're just going to leave it there because she's pretty great, and you're going to get a chance to meet her in a few. What up, Cantina? Cantinaxi. Just kidding, buddy. That lighting, though, you like it? You know, I toned it down a little bit here, and I tuned it up everywhere else. So thank you for noticing. Wow, you're just like speaking to my soul. John, Alec, thanks for being here. Thank you, everyone else, for joining us on this weekly Geek Out Sesh. Thank you for the sub, Cantina. If you missed last week's Geek Out Sesh, it was, in fact, with our very own Cantina13 in the chat. So you can go back on our Twitch and watch that, or you can watch it back on the YouTube, where it will live in all infamy forever and always. And so thank you for joining us. This is something that we do every week. And I have a new geek guest, and we geek out about writing, about D&D, about cosplay, about video games, about movies. And it's just a place where all of us geeks can come let our geek out. And you can geek out loud, and no one's going to judge you. This is a positive place. It's going to be a great time. And we can drink and say words like fuck. But maybe we will, maybe we won't. Who knows? But we're here to have a good time. And so I want you to use the command QOTD. In other words, question of the day. And the question of the day is, what is the most embarrassing thing you've ever written? Because we do have an author with us tonight, and while she talks about the amazing things she has written and she's published, and she's got another thing coming up in the works this month, I do want to kind of dig deep in her skeleton closet and find out what the horrible thing she wrote in her life is. So let me know, what is the most horrible, embarrassing thing you've ever written? But before she answers, and before any of you answer, I have my own answer. Because thanks to Mama Boser, my own mother, she took it upon herself to empty out my old bedroom, I don't know, a couple months ago. And she sent me home with a box. And it had a bunch of stuff from my grade school and yada, yada, yada. Moser, there you go. Mama Boser's Moser. And I don't know if anybody else in the world was part of these things, but when I was growing up in grade school, our whole class was forced to write a poem. And then that poem would be published. Published was the big exciting thing. It'd be published in a book called Celebration of Young Poets. If you can get past the reflections of every light I have shining in my face. Celebration of Young Poets. That's right. Indiana, the fall of 2000. Wow. So the young Boser writ a poem in grade 5. And if you would, bear with me. I would like to read it to you. Yes, I have it marked with this Creative Communication Inc. form that I never filled out. Okay, so this is maybe the most embarrassing thing I've ever written. It's probably not the most embarrassing thing I've ever written, because the most embarrassing thing I've probably ever written was a note to a girl where she crumpled it up and threw it away. But this might be close. It is a poem that I wrote in grade 5. Oh, Cartoon Connect! What? Hello, my friend! Thanks for the follow. Thanks for hanging out. Love you, man. Love what you're doing. That's another great guy that he's going to be on the show. But this is a poem that I wrote myself. You may not believe it. Mike Maniacal, thanks for the raid, my friend. Thank you. Everyone's tuning in. Thank you, guys. Are all here for my embarrassing poem. This poem's called The Remote. People say a man's best friend is a dog in the house. But now in the 21st century, it's not the computer mouse. It's not the cat. It's not the flounder. But none other than the remote on the living room counter. Just press the button and on it goes. You can turn it on standing on your nose. With a click of a button, you can change the channel. You don't have to get up and use the TV panel. I'm not saying that it's free, but it's the 21st century. So sit down and watch some TV with the remote on your knee. Can I get some snaps? Because pretty sure that was pretty bomb. Kitty says, how do I subscribe to my poetry channel? That's my OnlyFans. Or Only Stands. Huh? Huh? That's pretty good. Yeah, you're laughing, Sarah. I can see. You can't see her, but I can, and she's cracking up. That's pretty good. I'm keeping it. Oh, God, we lost some subs on that. Unsubscribe. Screw all of you. You guys, no, don't screw you. I love you all. Thank you for being here. But it's enough of my poetry. I think we need to hear from the writings of a true professional. But don't forget, I want to hear the most embarrassing thing you've ever written in the chat. Actually, I'm turning red. I think that phrase was the most embarrassing thing I've ever said. But I don't want to keep her in the wigs anymore. She's been waiting. She's been hanging out. I actually had the pleasure to meet her at our local Comic-Con. I went to her booth. She had, on Artist Alley, she had her book set up, and I gave her the whole spiel. Hey, I have a Twitch show. Would you like to be on it? And she actually said yes, believe it or not. So that is all the props to her. Please give it up. I want to see some clap emoji, some fire emoji, some book emoji. I don't know if that is an emoji. Give it up for the one, the only, SM Wright. Hi, Sarah. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing fabulous.
Sarah, in your professional opinion, how was my poem?
It was fabulous. Fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Look, they do have book emojis. They have so many book emojis. Wow. And clapping emojis. And clapping emojis. And clapping emojis. Thank you for coming on the show, Sarah. This is such an honor and a pleasure. I love that we got to meet at our local con. Yes. And now we're hanging out together on a Monday night.
Yes. I can't believe it's already November. When we talked in September, November just so far away, and then it's like, oh, here we are.
You were thinking, please, I've got time. I've got time for this guy to forget about me.
But you did not.
But I didn't. I persisted. I'll come after ya. So, Sarah, I gotta know, you heard the most embarrassing thing I've ever written. What's the most embarrassing thing you've ever written?
In junior high, I was super high on Tolkien. I had seen The Fellowship of the Ring in the theaters. My brother took me to like the midnight screening. And at that moment, I decided I love Tolkien.
Okay.
So, I had a knockoff Golem Smeagol who had fabulous dialogue. I should have actually tried to find it to share. But pretty much knockoff Golem.
Okay.
My most funniest was actually like a typo, where instead of sit on these floor pillows, they took a shit on the floor pillows. And a background character had like the most perfect reaction for that oopsie verb. It was like bowing their heads as if like the smell was so noxious for them.
Was this published in something, or like you wrote this?
No. This was sent out to like a beta reader. It's a fantasy novel that I hope to go back to eventually. But she like pointed out this typo, and she's like, "This is like the best thing I've read."
Took a shit on the floor pillow.
Yep.
What's it on the floor for, if not to get shat upon?
Yes.
That's what you get.
That's what you get for being on the floor.
Well, we shared ours. Let me know in the chat. I want to know. Use that question of the day, QOTD command. Let me know your most embarrassing thing you've ever written, because we've all written some embarrassing things or been forced to. I won't even talk about the time that I wrote an entire essay about a man's nipple. That's for another time. Thanks, Cantina. Thanks for checking in. Yeah, rewatch the rest on YouTube. Enjoy way out there in Canada. And John says, well, they say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
It's true. That's how you learn.
It is. You got to fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
So, for those who don't know, like it says here in this title that's moving around above their heads, you are S.M. Wright, or Sarah Wright, and you're author of Heritage Lost. But before we really deep dive into what the heck Heritage Lost is and fall in love with all of your book, tell us a little bit more about yourself, if you would.
I'm a native Hoosier. My attempts to escape the state never happened, so I've just stayed locally. Pretty much was a lifelong resident of Elkhart County. Just recently, in the past 7 years, I guess now, hopped over to Kosciuszko County. Yeah, I know.
Shame. Kosciuszko with too many consonants?
I know. People trying to spell it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, try to spell Kosciuszko.
Yes. Let's see the different ways.
Okay, so now you're in Kosciuszko County.
Yep.
And what are you doing there?
Right now I'm working full-time at the local library, the Syracuse Public Library. I also... Yes. And I also, for 9 years, I was working at the papers. I'm still part-time there, working on one of their magazines, The Municipal. But I enjoy being able to turn writing into a profession, and that was good for a while. Now I'm trying something new with the library.
Well, good for you. It's always nice to keep things fresh and keep things moving. But when, growing up, so now you work at a library as well as a little bit at the paper, but you've kind of made a career out of writing.
Yes.
Did you ever dream this would happen for you?
I was torn between writing and becoming a history teacher probably at the high school level.
Okay.
But the professional writing major at Purdue University in West Lafayette won out. So I did that, and I swore I would never get into journalism, but that's where I fell.
That just keeps sucking you back in.
No, there's no escape. But and on the side, I've always worked on my fiction, and it's a nice avenue versus the more kind of reporter style of writing.
Interesting. So it's the fiction writing is almost like an escape from your journalistic kind of writing?
Yes.
Okay, this isn't a question that I sent you, but now that you mention it, because I think it was a few weeks ago, if y'all were with me, who was it with? I think Lavi Cosplay, where they were talking about the day that your hobby becomes your career. Mm-hmm. That at times then you need a new hobby to get away from that thing. Is that kind of a similar idea?
I would say yes, because it's sometimes you have to break the rules. With reporting, it's you're targeting a third grade audience, they say. You have to stay within the AP style guidelines. Mm-hmm. But with fiction, it's I can have an incomplete sentence here. That's fine. You can just play around with words a lot more than what you can in more of a journalism field.
To play and just to be yourself and not have to stick to anyone's guidelines.
Exactly. But of course you want to still stick with kind of the basic English guidelines, but you learn those so you can break them later.
Yeah, the publisher probably needs you to stick to some semblance of grammar.
Yes. There are a few experimental pieces that don't, but it's still recommended.
Well, John says, essay writing wasn't too much of a problem back in the day, but creative writing was a struggle. I had a prompt where I had to write about a short story about a frazzled family during the holidays. It was a rather dismal affair. The concept was okay, but the pacing and dialogue were terrible. So
Yeah, it takes a while to get that pacing down.
So which did you struggle with more growing up with your writing? Like the essay kind of thing or the creative kind of thing?
Probably the essay in some manner, depending on like kind of, if it was like a history essay, I would attack that and I would just go with it. But on some of the more kind of psychological, like you have to really think it out, it could be a little bit of like banging a head against the wall.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm the same way. Well, in the way that essays were more difficult, besides all essays, including historical, for me. But a creative thing, I could just shit on. Like I could do it in my sleep. Ask me to make something up, I'll do it.
Yes.
Theater kid through and through. But like you mentioned that you've always loved writing. So like, where did that come from for you?
When I was in elementary school, my mom had taken me to young authors conferences. It's something that occurs in the state of Indiana. I don't know if other states have something similar. And I can't even remember what grades I was in when I went to these.
Was it like this? We'd all show up and write these?
No, they would have like a...
That was a joke.
But they would have like authors come in to like do a presentation, and then they would break us up into like these small sections where we had brought our stories to share, or we could work on stories. But it was just a fun experience, and it just really sparked the love of writing. And my dad would also like write when I was growing up, and I was like, oh, that looks fun. He did westerns, but
Really? So your dad wrote westerns?
Yes. He never published them, but he did write them.
I didn't know that people wrote westerns. I wasn't sure that was something you could write. They only watched them on TV. Nick at Night or something.
Louis L'Amour, man.
Interesting. So about how old were you when they took you to these young writers conferences?
Yes, I want to say like the first one was probably second grade, so 8-ish, 9-ish, 10-ish in that range. I think the last one I was probably in third, because they had like a very narrow window where you could go to them.
Oh, okay. Second to third grade was the narrow window?
I think, yes.
They wanted to have you drink the Kool-Aid quick.
Quick.
If we don't get them in third grade, they're just going to become journalists.
Yes, they will. The creativity will just die in them.
Yeah. We have another question from somebody else who's texting me. Did the westerns you grew up with impact the way that you wrote for yourself?
I would say yes, because you do get a lot of that, you have the white hats, you have the black hats, the good versus evil, those type of struggles definitely played a role, and then you add in kind of the more nuanced, gritty westerns where there's more shades of gray. I really love like the shades of gray in my writing.
Ooh, okay. So you often don't have those black and white lines. You like to
muddle them a bit.
Interesting. Okay. So then
yeah.
Do you know who that name is? Because I don't.
Yeah. Louis L'Amour.
I just have figured it was somebody that you might know, so I threw it up.
No, I don't know them, but their step-grandma has good taste.
But so your dad wrote westerns, and then you loved the fiction. How did you get sci-fi?
All right, here's the long roundabout journey to sci-fi-dom.
Okay, I'm in it.
Grew up, loved Star Trek, like my family, Next Generation. Every Friday, pizza, watch it. It was such a wonderful like feeling. Also, like my parents, like one of their first date night movies in the 70s was Star Wars. My dad actually went to see the first one 7 times, so they made sure that we loved Star Wars. And
you were indoctrinated early.
Yes, indoctrinated early. But I actually started writing historical fiction first, but then I got so mired down in like, it has to happen to the very second that it happened in history. I then moved to fantasy after I became addicted to Tolkien.
Uh-huh.
And I was actually kind of terrified to even attempt science fiction. It's just like, oh, I don't think I could pull it off. I don't think I could pull it off. But then the idea hit, and I'm like, we'll just go for it. It's like, we'll have like a curtain up. It's like, don't look too far behind the curtain. Don't see the inner workings of the science.
Don't look at the man behind the curtain. Just accept it.
Yeah,
move
just
on.
accept it.
But that's interesting that you said like science fiction was almost intimidating to you.
Yes, and it still is to some standards a little intimidating.
Published author says, "Oh man, this field that I'm currently in is still intimidating."
It's still intimidating.
What about science fiction is so intimidating?
There's a lot of like certain readers have like certain expectations of like the really hard science. Yes, I actually had like one guy when I started talking to him about kind of the book, and the moment he realized it wasn't hard science fiction, he just kind of like walked off from the conversation. Just like, oh my word.
Can you define what hard science fiction is versus, I guess, soft?
Hard science fiction is really getting into the nitty-gritties of like the science. It's like you still have the storyline, you can still have very strong characters, but it's more like looking at the impact of the science to the storyline, I guess I could put.
So
it's like
science is the main character in the plot?
Yes, in some ways, yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
But I tend to gravitate more toward space opera, military sci-fi.
Okay, you're using all these words that I don't quite know what they mean, but JJ Cruz loves science fiction. How's it going, JJ Cruz? Thanks for hanging out. Talk about intimidated. JJ Cruz is watching the stream. Now I'm intimidated. So then, for others, not me, because I'm clearly understanding, but for those in the chat probably that don't know what maybe space opera would be, what would that look like?
Space opera is pretty much what Star Wars is. It adds some of kind of like elements from the fantasy genre and brings it over.
Oh.
It's like galactic odds, or galactic stakes, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
And more dramatic.
And so that's where you like to live, melded with military fiction.
Yes.
And is that military fiction? You mentioned earlier that you really were into history. Is that where that military side kind of comes from?
Yes, I was an odd child growing up. I read.
Weren't we all?
I read. Because it started with Titanic, but then I got really obsessive into like Civil War history, and then it moved on to like World War II, and even like today, it's like a lot into World War I, because it seems like such a different century with like the jerky film. Empires entered the war, they got wiped out by the war. So many of them fell. I just find it intriguing.
And like, did you have any family members grow up in the military, or was it like the Westerns? Like, where did that love of history and the military come from?
Probably my brother got me started on that. Is he gave me like a book on the Bismarck, which was a German naval vessel that was like billed as like kind of the biggest, baddest, but it ended up being sunk because it was kind of ambushed. But I had an uncle who was in the army, but beyond that, I had ancestors who were in the Civil War, War of 1812, and Revolutionary War.
And so you know that because like you've gone way back in your genealogy to know this?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. So you're not even a fan of any history. You're a fan of also your own personal history.
Yep.
No fake fans here. But along with the space opera, J.J. Cruz says hard science fiction is too hard to follow. We prefer more of the Star Wars. Avatar, sci-fi. Hell yeah, Avatar! Can't wait for Avatar 2. Are you a fan of it?
Man, it's been a long way in the making.
Right. I saw that movie 5 times in the theaters, and I think the last 2 times were just to take a really great nap. I guess I had a ton of expendable income in college.
Yep.
So I love that you love writing, you love history, you love like the space opera, and you've melded those together. And would you say that your book, Heritage Lost, is the perfect meld of all of those things?
I would definitely say yes. Cattail up there.
How is that? What is that cat on?
He's on my bookcase.
I just need to see. Okay. It's like, you have flying cats?
I have flying cats.
Holy shit! This woman's a witch.
He loves sitting on that bookcase. But yeah, it's
Sorry,
definitely...
you were talking about your widely successful book.
Oh, yes. But yeah, it definitely, like, blends all of my passions in there together. As you can tell from, like, the title, like, Heritage Lost, it's followed by Descent, and kind of a spoiler on Book 3's title, it'll be Once Removed. I have, like, a genealogy kind of theme going on with all the titles.
Very cool.
And in the book itself, I take a lot of influence from Russia in the 1914, 1917, 1918 period, when you have the Roman Empire collapse. And there's some Roman Empire in there, Roman Republic, and just a copious amount of like Greek mythology also worked in.
Well, give us like the elevator pitch for this book. If someone said, "What's Heritage Lost about?" What would that be?
It centers on Captain Katja Cassius. She's an adoptee who is now piloting her own freighter. Happened upon a crippled warship, one of their own, from the Magistrate Spacefaring Navy. Being a good, outstanding captain, she enters the ship to only find it being a mass grave. While trying to determine what happened on that ship, she comes across a sole survivor, a young Oneroid toddler who she rescues, not fully knowing the danger he kind of imposes. And on the way, as they're leaving that crippled battleship, one of their own like goes to attack them, and they have to go on the run trying to figure out what's going on. All the while they have this ticking time bomb with this child who actually has this massive genetic disorder that makes him very dangerous.
Dangerous how?
He is like, the powers are largely based off of the Oneroid in Greek mythology, where they were the gods of like nightmares and night terrors. And he has the ability to pull you into a never-ending sleep. It's like a normal Oneroid, they can look at you and like thrust these terrors on you. However, they're in control of their powers.
Uh-huh.
With this genetic defect, he has no control. He will starve himself in the person he has drugged into sleep with him.
Interesting. And is that the original like Greek mythology term, is Oneroid?
Yep.
Very cool. And in your universe of the Heritage Lost, is that like a separate alien race, or is that...
They are a separate alien race.
Okay.
They come from a black zone world where other species cannot like enter its space. They can't go onto it. Yes, for one thing, their climate is very not suitable for most species,
Okay.
including humans, even some technology.
Well, John's interested. He says that kind of sounds dark and very gripping.
It is. I like to think it is.
Well, I would hope you think your own book is pretty exciting and gripping. And if you're just joining us, we were talking with S.M. Wright, the author of Heritage Lost. She's a sci-fi author from right here in my hometown or state of Indiana. Hoosier, baby! And she's talking all about her Heritage Lost book. And if you're finding, wow, that looks like a really great book, I'd love to read it or at least learn more about it, you can use Command Write. And it'll give you... Oh, that didn't work out at all. What does this go to? Let me just see. Let me test it. Okay. It goes to her Amazon link. I tried to... Hi, Oceana! I tried to do also the Barnes & Noble link, but that didn't work. It was way too long, I guess. But it does go to her Amazon link, and it gives her some Kindle books, and you've got a couple options there.
Yes. You can get the paperback, or you can get the ebook, and if you are a subscriber to the Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. It's included in your membership.
Hey, there you go. So if you're liking what you're hearing, if you just want to support my geek guest tonight, and I hope you do, go and buy lots of her books, and hopefully many, many more books in the future.
Yes.
So before we get
that series,
say what?
I have to crank out that series.
Ooh, crank it out. Are you on a time limit?
Not really, but I would like to have them out like on a year and a half basis. No more than 2 years.
When did Heritage Lost first come out?
It came out pre-COVID, actually, right before COVID. He missed the ledge. But came out December 2019.
Hold on. Is your cat okay?
He is okay.
Is he okay?
He is okay.
He was so embarrassed. I saw the fear in his eyes.
He misjudged. He does not do that often.
He's made that leap like 4 times since I started talking to you tonight. Yeah. And that one time, just missed the leap. I'm sorry, you were saying something about a book or something, I think.
Yes.
When did Heritage Lost first come out?
It came out December 2019.
Okay. Ooh, 2019.
Yep.
Okay, so then also, this is not a question that I'd sent you previous, but December 2019, did the pandemic have any effect on your book or your writing or your plans for being a comic book writer?
Pretty much a lot of my marketing plans went out the window.
Yeah.
I did like some like live readings on Facebook because I'm like, all right, people are having a hard time. Let's just read a couple chapters. But yeah, it was definitely weird. It definitely impacted some, I think, the sales.
Do you really think so? Because you weren't able to go out there and push it and talk about it.
Yeah. I couldn't get into like bookstores at the time because it's like a lot of them were shut down, and by the time it's like, now the book's kind of old.
Yeah. So guys, help her out. It wasn't her fault. Help her out. But I love that you've melded so many of those favorite things, and that definitely sounds like it can go a lot of different places. Was there other than, just your love for sci-fi generally, was there a specific inspiration for this story?
Definitely, like, in terms of, like, science fiction kind of inspirations, like Firefly, the TV series.
Ooh.
Adored it. My brother introduced me to that in college, so I, like, binged it. It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the re-envisioned Battlestar Galactica. That was like my evenings in college, just watching Battlestar Galactica. But beyond that, it's like I just cold started the story. I was actually sitting in the student union at Purdue. I had like this vision of a female captain.
Okay.
and I knew she was going to find this dangerous child. And through it, she would kind of be forced to explore her lost history. Because she was adopted off of her home world when she was like maybe 3, 4. All that history was lost, and her planet, which was based off of kind of our world during like World War One. It was just like complete disaster there, so like records were not kept.
And I love that with this Onoroi power of putting you in sleep and really kind of almost like in a Freddy Krueger way coming at you through your dreams.
Yes, he does do that.
Yeah. But he forced Katya?
Yeah.
Katya to almost like face her own demons.
Yes. He truly does that because he's tapped into like this childhood trauma that she had, that she just buried it because it was just too traumatic, of blood and snow, black boots crunching on the snow, and she still like fights him on it because she doesn't want to go the rest of the way of the memory.
Yeah.
She can't see what happened. Is her
she
psyche
forced to see the full memory?
Yeah, she rebels against seeing that full memory.
Yeah.
Because it was the time the hand disappeared.
The what? I have so many questions. I gotta read your book.
Yes.
Not gonna lie, I thought Boser misspelled Wright. Yeah, not gonna lie, I had to double check, triple check the emails. I'm like, no, this is correct. This is correct.
Yep.
But John says it reminds him of the stage musical version of Anastasia.
Yes.
Was that part of anything? You like Russia?
Like, I could. One of the marketing things that I kind of wish I had done is more like, it's kind of like Anastasia in space, only it's not going to be like, or maybe it will, I don't know. Actually, I do know, but it could be a red herring.
But I mean, I love Anastasia. You could. I think we need a Heritage Lost musical next.
Yes, that could be fun.
So you said when you first started writing, and I guess I'm talking to anybody in the chat that has ever had a desire to write a book or had no idea where to start, because you said you just started in the Student Civic Center and started with a captain and a child. Is that where you tend to write or begin all of your books? Is like with one idea and you just let it happen, or do you have a process?
Yeah, because usually I start with like a cold chapter 1, and like on that junior high novel that's never going to see the light of day. It's never going to see the light of day. I didn't plot it out after that initial chapter, and I got midway through and it was like, oh my word, I have no idea where this is going. But for most of my books, I'll just start cold with the first chapter. I'm like, all right, this is good. Now let's kind of pull back and kind of outline where the story might go. Okay. That outline, it can change. The characters can do a complete 180. They can change it up. That's fine. But I just don't want to get midway through a book and not have a roadmap.
So you start cold and then let that kind of spawn a roadmap.
Yes.
And then move forward from there. But you mentioned something really interesting, and it's something that in something that you had sent about a previous interview, that interviewer was far more attuned with writing than I ever was. So I stole a lot of his questions. But but one thing really ignited something in me, because I come from a theater background. Mm-hmm. And like characters development is really exciting to me. And so you mentioned that at sometimes the characters will control the narrative.
Yes.
How often does that happen? And how do you even tap into the mind of a character that you created?
Yes, it's so hard to explain that.
Oh God, your cat is alive.
He's alive! He's made it back. He's down to maybe like 7 lives. But yeah, because it's so hard to explain. Because like when I first started Heritage Lost, I've been doing a fantasy novel for so long that like the Heritage Lost characters were like strangers to me. But as the story went on, it's like they would little facets of their life would just drop, and as like more of those little gears in their head kind of became transparent, they would take more control of the narrative. It's like, no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do this. And like, Katja is super stubborn, and that's probably something that we share a little bit in common. She completely took my plans for the series, chucked them out the airlock, and it's like, no, I cannot do this. My morals are too strong to do this.
I just find that so incredibly interesting that this, like, if you really break it down to brass tacks, you have this idea that you started on paper and you just kept going, and you breathed such life and such humanity into these words that now these words have a life of their own that even you are unable to control. Like, that is mind-boggling to me.
Yep.
That is amazing.
Me too, sometimes.
So you're saying that the whole trajectory of Heritage Lost completely shifted because of what your characters wanted than what you thought in the first place?
Yes, it truly did. And it's actually probably for the best, because it would have really have been another like rebel organization versus the Galactic Empire type of scenario. But it's like, she knew that they were brutal terrorists. She becomes more involved, and they are just what they are, and she can't accept it.
Okay.
And that's what takes us into Descent.
Oh, okay. See, you can tell. You see the knee coming up. This is how you know that you've piqued like true interest. I'm just like, I'm leaning in. I forgot that we're streaming. I'm just like talking to you now. I just imagine that like you lay awake at night with your characters fighting in your head for what's going to happen next.
Sometimes they do that, and I really should keep like a notebook by my bed. But I always trust my brain that it's going to remember. It never remembers.
So why do you trust it? Where'd this trust come from? It's built on lies.
It's built on lies. It's like, I don't know why I keep trusting it, only that I'm tired and I don't want to get a notebook.
That's the thing. I just love that honesty from an author. You know what? I just don't want to. I'm sleeping. Go to bed, characters. For anybody that might pick up your book in the future, is there some point in the book that they would run across it that you can say, this moment would not have happened if Katja didn't say, make this happen?
Oh, man. Like, for one example, I didn't realize that in her previous post she had a lover. She just kind of dropped it, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Unfortunately, he is deceased. He had a form of cancer, but he still has like an impact on her as a human being, even though it's been gone for like a year. She still misses him. She still values what his opinions would be. But yeah, and actually, if you want to meet and get kind of an idea of her relationship with Valens, who is this guy, I have a novella I can actually get for free if you sign up for my author newsletter.
Where can we do that?
You can go
to the internet.
You can go to my website, smwrightauthor.com, and I do believe it's on that homepage, there's like a form that you can subscribe, or you can go to my contact page. You can also find my author page on Facebook, and there's a link there to subscribe to the newsletter.
Okay, I pulled it up. I found it. I'm dropping it here. Actually, I'll drop it here. Here you go, everyone. If you want to go sign up for that. But if you read the novella, you're probably going to need to read Heritage is Lost first.
Well, technically, it's a prequel novel, so you could.
Well, there you go. We'll read the free novella. Whet your appetite for S.M. Wright's compelling character development-based writing. And then go read Heritage is Lost.
Yep. They both have explosions.
I love
explosions.
Read my book. You know why? They have explosions.
Yeah.
That would be my elevator pitch. Why should I read your book? Well, it's got explosions. Okay, done. Take my money.
Yep.
Guys, honestly, if you're having a good time hanging out with us on this Geek Out Sesh with SM Wright or Sarah, then go ahead and hit that command Write, buy her book, or go up to her amazing site and sign up for her newsletter. And then you can always be kept up to date with what's coming up with SM Wright.
Yep.
And then, if you're having a good time with Forky Spy Geeks, just hit that follow button. Maybe hit the sub button. Oh, sorry, let me hit the crap out of my mic real quick. Because we do this every Monday with a new geek guest. Because I just like meeting amazing individuals and giving myself an excuse to talk to them, like Sarah tonight. But you mentioned that you and Katja have kind of a stubborn mindset or attitude in common.
Yeah.
Is Katja the one that maybe you relate with most, or are there others in your series?
I would say that fragments of myself are kind of dispersed through all the different characters. Like Mina, I can be super bubbly like she is. I also love to cook like she does. I can be kind of sullen like Ryan, but I try not to have his bad distaste.
Uh-huh.
And like with Akios, it's like I can be kind of like pessimistic and like very deriding of humanity sometimes. Sometimes the world does not give much hope.
Yeah, honestly, I've been saying it for years. People suck.
People do suck.
People suck. And I'm a people, so I would know. So it's almost like just different pieces of your personality are all just living this life, talking to each other, interacting.
Yeah. And they take on like other personalities and sometimes a little bit from historic figures. Is one character, Zakar, kind of draws from different Russian revolutionaries from back in the day.
And that's where your love of history comes out.
Yes.
Has there ever been a time that, like, you thought you might want to kill off a character, or it felt like they should, but it was like a piece of you that you couldn't say no to or say goodbye to?
Because it's like, not necessarily that they're a part of me, but they become my darlings. In many ways, they're like my children. And I have them try to crawl off the death list, and I'm like hitting their hands to push them back in the pile. It's like, sort of, but like, you must die for the plot.
So your pieces of your personality, like, don't kill me, and you're just like, die! Stomping on their fingers. This is Sparta. Get in the hole!
Get in the hole.
You're ruthless.
Yeah, because I've only had, like, maybe one character, like, crawl off the death list. And I have one right now that's, like, really fighting to get off, and I'm just like, I think it makes a better story if you're dead.
Just convincing them. So really what you're saying is writers, at least good writers, are just multiple personality letting the
Yes.
disorder out on paper.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Like stranger than fiction.
Yeah. Well, I gotta know, in the chat, are there any budding writers out there? Is anybody here because they want to be doing what Sarah is doing? And if so, Sarah, please talk to them. What kind of advice would you give to somebody that was just starting out or didn't know what to do or wanted to eventually publish a book like you have?
Number one, definitely write. Writing is how you're going to improve your craft. Like, pick up any writing book that you can get your hands on. There's so many resources online nowadays, from writing articles to like blogs that are dedicated to just improving the craft. You can also get support nowadays. There's so many like Facebook author groups that are available and across like the genres. But also kind of build a tough skin, but not tough enough a skin where you're not taking in any constructive criticism, because that's how you grow as a writer. If you can also take like writing courses, those are highly recommend. I'm trying to think what else. It's like, also, if you decide to go into publishing, do your research. Make sure you are like querying like legitimate publishing houses. There are so many like pseudo publishing companies that will pretty much just screw you over. The Science Fiction Fantasy Association, they have an authors beware page. That's like a good place to go to kind of research places before you go to them. If you self-publish, it's like, yeah, just do a lot of research, lots and lots of research, know what you're getting into, because it's a lot of work. Even if you like traditionally publish, you're gonna have to do a lot of your marketing too, just like you would if you self-published. And just having that research behind you, subscribing to podcasts, like the self-publishing network, really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just getting out of the way and letting you pour forth wisdom from your mouth. Because you clearly, while none of us know everything, you clearly know plenty. And because you took the time, you learned, and you probably made every mistake that we all have to.
Mistakes. Yes, yeah, for anything, there's going to be learning curves. And it's like, you just have to take the time, learn from your mistakes, put the effort in, and if you can afford it, hire a good team behind you, too.
Yeah, there you go. And if you can't, do like I do and just do it all myself. I'm just kidding. Just kidding for my team that's watching this later. Like, well, I'm leaving FGBG, thanks. I was thinking back on something you said. I was like, ooh, I'm going to ask her when she's done tripping forth the wisdom. And I trusted my brain, and now I'm left with shit. So, God. Anyway, I'm sure it was really important. Thank you for all of that advice. Oh. What if somebody thought, wow, she said some really great things. I want to be able to pick her brain even more. What's the best place? Would it be your website, your newsletter, or your socials?
Probably a little bit of both. I do have a blog on my website, and I have a lot of great writing related articles in addition to like stuff about my writing. But I had started a series taking Once Upon a Time. I don't know if you've ever seen that TV show.
Yeah.
And taking like writing lessons that could be learned from the series, including kind of like some things not to do.
Okay. So like people might be able to use you as like their personal fairy godmother, writer, mentor.
I will try to leave them as best as possible. But they should cast their nets far and wide.
Okay. If they wanted to follow you on like a social media, what would be the best place to do that?
Definitely Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Okay.
I try to update all of them pretty frequently. Twitter tends to be more low-key in general, whereas like Facebook tends to be more like strictly Heritage Lost series and writing. Instagram, if you like cats, you'll like my Instagram.
I did notice a lot of cats on your Instagram.
Yes. There are a lot of cats.
This is me doing a really bad job of homework. Oh, it is. Okay. You have a page. I was like, does SM Wright have a page, or is it just a personal profile? But it's a full page.
It's a full page.
It's a legit page. And so I've dropped both of those, Instagram and Facebook, into the chat. So please go give her Facebook a like, go give her Instagram a follow, keep in touch. The worst thing possible is that you stop in for a Geek Out Sesh and you meet my guest, and then that's it. We want to continue this conversation. That's the great thing that I love about our little community. It's community. Once you're part of it forever. And so if you are enjoying what you're doing tonight, if you like geeking out, come back every Monday. And then also on Wednesdays, we have community games, and Thursdays we play D&D. And then if you want some more geeks to hang out with, you can always hit us up on the Discord and find some more people with like minds and just a great personality who just want to geek out. And it's just a cool place to make some friends on the internet. So we don't always have a community locally like I wish we all did.
No.
So that's what we're here for. We're to bridge the gap between you and the rest of the world. Sarah, we're not done. We're far from done. But I just wanted to take this moment to say thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. This has been really
fun.
Cool. Because I don't write. I can bullshit. That's what I do. I can't write, but I can bullshit.
Yeah.
Through college, that's what I did. I bullshit my way through papers.
Life skill. It's a good life skill.
Life skill. Thank you. Thank you. Mom, you hear that? Sarah said it's a good life skill. I don't live with my mom. It's fine. My wife's like, the hell he call me? But it's actually so interesting to me when I get to talk to like a real writer and just kind of pick your brain a little bit. I want to go so much more in depth, and so we'll have to do that some other time. But I get to pick your brain a little bit on just like how you even begin to do what you do. And it sounds like it's just like pours forth. You just open your brain, start that first chapter, and let the characters take over. It's easy. Sell books. Yeah. There you go. Would you say that? So again, just questions off the cuff. Do you feel like you have reached success as a writer, or is that just an ever-moving target?
I think it's definitely like an ever-moving target because you're always wanting to find more readers, readers to enjoy your fictional children and go enjoy like this world that you have spent so much time like nitpickingly cobbling together.
Yeah. But and I mean, that's kind of like anything. Like you start out wanting to do something and then you achieve it, but then all of a sudden that's not enough. And so you have to achieve more and more. Like you wrote a book, you published a book. I'm sure like to 5-year-old you, that's done. You've achieved your life. I can die happy.
Yeah. I think they would be very happy with me to have it out in print.
Good. Well, let's just have a moment for 5-year-old Sarah. Here's to you. Here's to accomplishing all of your life goals. And to adult Sarah, you've got some work to do. Keep going.
Yes.
Speaking of goals and dreams, I don't know if I ever shared this with you, chat, but I've always dreamed of being a writer. And so Sarah inspired me to begin my own sci-fi novel, but I'm having a little bit of writer's block. Speaking of writer's block, we had one question through Instagram. Let's just derail exactly where I was going. Let's come back to interview. The one question was, what's the best method of overcoming writer's block?
There are several things that I do. Sometimes I just change locations. I'll leave my house, I'll go to a coffee shop. Just like, sometimes I'll jumpstart the brain. Sometimes I force myself to just power through. It's crap, but I'll fix it in the editing, the revision stages.
I love that. It's crap, but...
Yeah. Other times, I will put in parentheses, come back later, finish here, and I'll skip to a scene that
That's great, though.
I'm excited about.
Yeah.
But, like, my alpha readers, they're the people who read it first after I'm, like, pretty much done, so they get a lot of warts. It's kind of a inside joke where I'll have, like, the quotes or parentheses, like, insert planet name here, insert name here.
It's like you're on Mad Lib.
Yes. So, like, they get a kick out of that. It's like a running joke nowadays.
That's cute. That's fun. But what I've taken from all those things is, even when you're stuck, just keep going.
Yes.
You can always go back.
That's it. You can always go back.
You can always
it's
fix
not
it.
finished until you have it in print, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's just making progress is more important than perfection.
Yes.
I love that. I'm going to keep that with me. Progress is better than perfect.
Yes. Because oftentimes, too many writers, they hit that block and they're just sitting there. And they can be sitting there for years. And it's like, you got to really force yourself.
So that hasn't happened to you? You haven't ever had to wait that long? Because you just make...
No. Usually the rabid plot bunnies come back pretty fast.
The rabid plot bunnies?
Yes.
The hell did you say?
You aren't in writing circles very much, I can see.
Nope. Not here.
Yes, we kind of imagine it like the Monty Python Quest for the Holy Grail rabbit.
Yeah.
Like, comes out of rivers, like, lashes onto you, and you have to write the story for it.
Rabid plot bunnies. You heard it here first, kids. She says with shock, "You're not in writing circles, are you?" Well, seeing how I do my best work here on Twitch. No, I'm not. Well, I'm going to add that to my daily vernacular. But in the meantime, I have my own writer's block, and I'm really stuck. I have my first couple chapters of my own sci-fi novel, but I'm just stuck on the main details, really. So since you were coming on tonight, I thought, I'll just shoot my shot. Maybe she can help. Would you be willing to help me with my book?
Let's go for it.
Okay. So it's not the full thing. I've got full sentences. There's just bits that are missing, and I need your help. And chat, you're welcome to help too. So if you think of it quickly enough, the last time we played this, we found that the lag between the live that you're getting and what's chat's getting puts chat at a severe disadvantage. So we'll see if you even can be quick enough, chat, to even answer. For my Mad Lib, I mean my very serious sci-fi novel. My hard science fiction novel. But right off the bat, I need like a location. Like, it could be small, it could be very big. I don't know where the best place to start, so I just need a location.
Tatooine.
I feel that's kind of familiar, but that's probably not copywritten or anything, so I'll go forward.
Yeah. You
okay,
just change like a few letters here and there.
Okay. Tatooyee.
There we go.
Tatooine. I need an adjective, a describing word.
Let's see. Maybe sharp.
Sharp. Oh my god, that's exactly what I needed. Sharp. And then because it's science fiction, I was thinking of some sort of alien, but I just couldn't think of it. So, I'm out of focus now. Hi. I needed some sort of species. Anything like a species? You got a species?
Zerb.
Zerb! That's so direct and to the point. I was thinking of like letters or words with like 18 different letters, but Zerb, I love that. Give me an event. Maybe an event that happens annually or once every so often.
Let's see, any
Maybe a historical event.
gladiator fight.
Oh my god, that fits so well. You don't even know. Get out of my mind. Like I can feel we're mind melding. I'm gonna have to give you credit for this book. Species, okay. Same species, all right. Zerb. And I need an emotion.
Rage.
Okay. Tense is hard with this kind of thing, but we're just gonna go forward. Make progress. Progress over perfection.
Yes.
I need a noun.
Do you have anything from chat or no?
No, they just know they can't keep up, so they've given up on life. They're just living to the true professionals. Us. Clearly.
Let's go for fire for the noun.
Fire. Okay, that actually is fitting. That's cool. Okay, I was trying to be like edgy, kind of like, Maze Runner, and I wanted to make an expletive or a curse word. I wanted to create one, but I'm having trouble. So, give me a bad word that doesn't exist.
Fetter.
Oh, and watch your mouth. Fetter. Nice. Okay, I need a verb. An action word.
Sliced.
Okay. And a weapon. Any kind of weapon. Maybe it's not normally a weapon, but it is in our case.
Let's see. Fudge nuggets.
I see you, Oceana, and I'm adding it.
Yes, add it.
I'm combining. I'm making a compound expletive.
Yes, those are the best type. Shakespeare would be proud of us.
Oh, God. I can die happy. This is it. I've reached my end. Okay, I need a weapon. Something maybe used as a weapon.
Exploding broadsword.
Holy D&D. I need it. I want it. I need my DM to give it to me.
Yeah, because we need explosions. They're like somewhere.
I mean, both your books have explosions, so it sounds like it's kind of your thing. Oceana loves it. By the way, do you play D&D? Because I feel like you would play D&D.
I have played some. I don't have anywhere that I can really play it right now.
That's a shame.
Yeah, because my brother introduced me to tabletop.
I just feel like you would be like way too good at D&D. Probably as a DM. Like you could world build, you could bring your lore into it, you'd create exploding fudge nuggets, exploding broadswords. Sorry, excuse me. Watch my mouth. Hold that thought. Exploding brat sword or brat sword. Sasha's sword because second breakfast. I'm taking it. We're gonna change it to a brat sword.
Yes.
And my 12-year-old mind is going to very immature places with exploding brat. Anyway, I need. Oh, I lost my pen. Oh, still here. Still here. Okay, I need like a place found in nature. Like I was torn, maybe like for example, a valley is a nature place.
Uh-huh.
So, but I don't want a valley. I couldn't think of what I wanted though.
Let's see. Maybe a marsh.
Of course. That was like right there. It was right there. I need an amount of time. Any amount of time. Could be large, could be small.
Let's go at even 20.
20 what?
Years.
Oh god. This book got very long. And then I need a greeting. You know, I was gonna go with like hello, but come on, everyone does that.
Salutations.
Salutations. True writing. This is grade A. Another noun. Any noun?
Let's go with cat for the cat, in honor of the cat who fell.
Cat. And another emotion.
Let's see. Let's go on the other spectrum and go sad.
Sad. Again. Tense is hard. But we're going to roll with it. A new amount of time. So we did 20 years. Give me another amount of time.
2 seconds.
Okay. I'm realizing that I re-referenced something that you said earlier. I have to add that in. Okay, so this is kind of a specific thing, but I couldn't quite pinpoint what I wanted. I need a sound that you might hear at a deli. Could you please spell that?
Oh man, don't ask me to do that.
Don't ask me to spell. SCHSHSHW.
Yeah, there we go. Just keep going out of that SH.
And what sound? What's making that sound in your deli?
Of course, the slicer.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, it's where. Yeah, yep.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm with you.
Somebody's getting lunch meat.
I need a measurement, like, like a ton, but not a ton. That's stupid.
Let's see. Maybe 1 cup.
That is very precise. And then I need like I don't know, some sort of I have a picture, but I don't know what to call it, or even if it's what it should be. So like either a gas or like some sort of liquid, or just kind of maybe a general term for one of those. I don't know. You're the professional.
Kerosene.
Okay. That's exactly what I needed. Realizing I don't know how to spell kerosene. A good thing you're not going to see it. Because only I can see. Reaching. Give me an animal. Any animal. First animal comes to your mind.
Mountain lion.
Okay. Mountain lion and a bug. First bug.
Tarantula.
Tarantula. Oh, this is cute. And a food.
Bratwurst has already been taken. Let's go pineapple.
On the brain. You said what?
Pineapple.
Pineapple. Oh my god. I need someone to sketch this fast. And then one final verb for this chapter.
Let's see. Let's see. Dashed.
Oh my god, you hit the correct tense. How did you know? Quit looking at my paper.
It's for the other ones you can do raged and saddened.
Excuse me as I burp. I wish I could, but even those weren't quite right. I don't know.
Oh man.
Guys, I'm so excited to have the first chapter of my sci-fi novel. Do you mind if I share it with you? Will you be my alpha readers? Okay, ready? Thank you for all your help. I really think this is what I needed. In a Tatooine, far, far away, lived a sharp Zerb. It had been a long time since the last gladiator fight, and this particular Zerb had become rage with time. But one day, as they looked up in the sky, they saw a fire falling from the sky. What the fettering fudge nugget, they said, as they looked up from their slicing. I'd better make sure no one got hurt. So they grabbed their trusty exploding broadsword and started off toward the marsh, where the thing had fallen. After 20 years, they came upon a clearing.
That is one big marsh.
Woof! That's called halting the plot. They came upon a clearing streaked with flames, still on fire. Salutations! They shouted warringly. But no one answered. There, in a crater, was the scorched cat that they had seen. So, with great sad, they approached it and knocked on it with their exploding broadsword.
Yes.
After a mere 2 seconds, the thing let out a loud whoosh and opened up, spilling forth a cup of kerosene. A level cup.
Yep.
There inside was something that looked like a mix between a mountain lion, tarantula, and a pineapple. And then it dashed. If that doesn't move you towards chapter 2, I don't know what does. That's just good writing.
Yeah. All hail the mountain lion, tarantula, pineapple.
Honestly,
Like, seriously, somebody draw it.
John, I know you're sketching during this stream. John sketches during every one of our streams, and he shows us what he's made. I need to see a mountain lion, tarantula, pineapple. I know it's late in the stream, and you probably already started, but add that to your list. Or Oceana, also an artist. I'd love to see that. Or
And also the exploding broadsword. I think that would be a good art project too.
Hell yeah, that sounds like a D&D homebrew. Exploding broadsword. Okay, I'm just feeling the juices flow. After that first chapter, like I now kind of see where the story's going. Can we burn through chapter 2?
All right, let's go for
rapid
it.
fire. Rapid fire. I'm gonna name it. You give it to me. I'm gonna keep going. Name an ant would have.
Ethel.
Ethel. Okay. Ethel. I had to write it twice. That's reasons. A verb.
Waltzed.
Ooh. Correct tense and everything. How did you know? An adjective.
A what?
Adjective.
Oh, adjective. Sanguine.
Yeah, the sword. Penguin?
Sanguine?
Oh God, you're using those big writer terms. Sanguine.
It's
I
the
feel
color
like
of blood.
I saw that in the Bible once, maybe.
Yeah. Probably. It seems to fit.
Sanguine. A time of day.
Dawn.
A verb.
Jumped.
Okay. Emotion.
Let's see. Hyper.
Okay, that works. A different. Oh, hello. Excuse me. This is me. My channel. It's not my arts channel. God, hello. There we go. A different emotion.
Let's see. Worried.
Wow, correct tense and everything. A sound you might hear in a locker room.
Click. Did I also mention that I like a lot of true crime?
Are you good? Okay. Are you the subject of those true crimes? The locker room photographer, the voyeur. Give me a noun.
Basket.
Basket. Distance.
1 kilometer.
Exactly 1 kilometer. Another
Exactly.
verb.
Screamed.
Okay. Okay, I didn't know how to even what a general term for this. I wrote a civic unit. Meaning I want like a group that is in every city.
So, like a Kiwanis club?
I love you. Yep. Kiwanis Club. Okay. Something you'd ask your teenager.
What is in your backpack?
What is in your backpack? And something you'd ask your significant other.
What did you spend our money on?
What did you spend? That's where you get those separate accounts, baby.
Yep.
Our money on. Hello, we want prenup. We want prenup. Okay, here's where I wanted something relevant. You know, something to speak to the kids. So, like, we can be a celebrity.
Justin Bieber. I don't know if he's relevant anymore.
I don't either. Though I did see a meme the other day. It was like, this picture of Justin Bieber getting choked at the club looks like a Renaissance painting. And it literally did. There's like people everywhere, and they all had like different emotions at all times. You could see nothing but people, and then one. It was actually
I'll
really
have to look up that photo.
I thought it was a painting at first. Literally did. You should look it up.
I will look it up.
Give me a noun.
Let's see. Kabuki mask.
And okay, like what I'm thinking of is maybe like a grin, but I don't want a grin. I want a different kind of, you know, face shape, mouth shape.
Scowl.
Okay, that's it. That's what I was missing. Last one. I guess the best thing that what I'm looking for is some sort of maybe a TV slogan or a catchphrase.
The more you know.
The more you know. I think that dates us a little bit, but that's fine.
Definitely.
The more you know.
It is good to be a child of the 90s.
Oh, God love us. I knew I was in good company. All right, I have chapter 2. I knew writing books was so easy. You make it sound like it's hard. I've already written 2 whole chapters in one night, in less than an hour. So, maybe I should be giving you tips.
Pretty good.
Well, you did help, I guess. Okay, ready for chapter 2? Chapter 2. The days passed quickly, and Ethel, they named it Ethel, had grown rapidly. In the time since it had been found, it had... Oh God, what did I write? Waltzed everything in the house and begun to develop sanguine abilities. Every dawn, it would seem to jump my mind and leave me feeling hyper. And when it got worried, it would let out a loud sound that went like blink. It caused every basket in 1 kilometer to scream. This, of course, caught the attention of the local Kiwanis Club, and soon the house was being swarmed day and night with questions like, "What is in your backpack?" and "What'd you spend our money on?" Before long, the creature made national news and attracted the attention of Justin Bieber. He arrived on their doorstep with a kabuki mask and a scowl. Aren't they all scowling as a rule, kabuki mask? And said, "The more you know."
Alright, now we need a photo of Justin Bieber with a kabuki mask asking the more you know.
There we go. Make it happen, chat. We need some fan art of this shit. You know what? I think I'm gonna. That's enough writing for me tonight, because obviously I made 2 chapters. I met my 500 word goal today.
Good job.
Sarah, honestly, thank you so much for coming on this redonkulous show and sharing your insight, your wisdom, sharing your story. Did you have a good time?
I had a very good time. It was a lot of fun.
Well, the night's not over for Oceana because she's got some photoshopping to do.
Super exciting.
I can't wait. If you do, honestly, that'll make feed. Share that with us. We'll put it on the feed. But honestly, once again, if you guys have enjoyed what you've heard tonight and you were like, wow, I really want a copy of that book, use command Wright, and it'll take you to her Amazon link where you can get link to all of her books. And then, where'd that go? I got it here. This is her personal site. If you want to get part of her, what you call it?
Author newsletter.
That's it. That's one. Those words sound familiar. Author newsletter, and you can get a free copy of her novella, which is a prequel to Heritage Lost. And if you are a writer and you just want some tips, hot takes, then go find her on social media. Go find her Facebook. Go find her Instagram. Go find her Twitter. That's what we're here. We just want to find more people to geek out loud with, because this was so cool. It was a lot of fun. Good. Great moments. Would you say that it's more fun than your average interview?
Oh, for sure. Oftentimes it's like they're just sitting there, no fun at all, just questions.
We did it, gang. Nice. That's the goal, to be the least boring interview you've had this month. Goals. Good. Well, you were a fantastic guest. Stick around. We're going to hopefully raid somebody else. That sounds like a bad thing, Sarah, but in Twitch, it's a good thing. She's new to Twitch, kids.
I am new to Twitch.
Who's live? Ooh, actually, I have a Minecraft streamer that I like. So we're going to set her raid up. Let me see. Command raid at hello. I am. I spelled it wrong. Hello, I am Kate. Let's see if that worked. Set that going. Okay, good. But we have a way that we end here on 4 Geeks by Geeks, and that is I'm going to point to you, and you're going to say, "And I am your name," and then I'll say, "And you just keep," and you're going to say, "Geeking out." Okay. We should probably, talk through that beforehand, but I like to do it live because it makes it sound really professional. But thanks for geeking out, you guys. Once again, this is Geek Out Sesh. Happens every Monday. Tune in next week when we interview an incredible cosplayer. He makes giant foam cosplays. His name is Tris Rex, and he's amazing. It's going to be so cool. So tune in then. Wednesday, we're going to have some community games and hang out with us. And then Thursday, we're going to be playing some D&D, and the whole thing starts over again next week. So tune out with us all week long. If you haven't already, hit that follow button on the Twitch and give us a sub if you really are enjoying what you're doing. Or at the very least, find us on social media and geek out with us all week long. But until next time, I am Boser.
I am SM Wright or Sarah.
And you just keep
geeking out.
Good night.
Night.